Chapter. Everything is permitted.
Welcome to episode 105 of Everything is Permitted here at Wade's Comic Madness. I am your captain and host, Julian Brown, alongside my co-hosts, the Man of Steel, Matt Reppert, and the Master of Puns, Brittany Tomes, already with a smile on her face.
Do you want to know why?
How's it going?
I just drew the best heart I've ever drawn, like freehand, in my entire life around Skeletor. Look at that fucking heart.
I debated opening going like Skeletor, but this just made it so much better. That is a perfect heart.
Thank you.
It is a perfect heart. Well done.
Oh my God.
Well done. Now I don't know what to do because hearts everywhere. Oh man, we are going to be talking a lot about that show. This week it's the return of EIP's Most Wanted segment. Matt, do the honors, sir. What is happening this week?
The Raiders of the Bargain Bin.
Oh,
fuck yeah.
of the bargain.
Thanks, thank you there, Sam Elliott, with your
White wine.
deep and
White
raspy voice.
Fuck yeah.
Gonna go kill some Hitlers and Bigfoots.
I hate it.
Oh God.
I hate it.
Thanks, I hate it.
Thanks. That's right, guys. Raiders of the Bargain Bin does return this week with a movie that, I mean, like, I don't even know where to start. Just listen to this name, folks.
Was it a movie?
Was it a movie? The Man Who Killed Hitler and Bigfoot. And if that doesn't sound amazing, I mean, you'll find out why it wasn't. Also, we'll briefly be talking the latest episode of The Bad Batch, episode 13, Infested. We have a lot to do today, so we're not going to spend a ton of time in a galaxy far, far away, but we will go there. And then finally, we are going to talk about all 5 episodes of the brand new animated Masters of the Universe series from Kevin Smith, Revelation. And yeah, it's good stuff. I'm excited about this episode. Not Raiders of the Bargain Bin, though.
When are we ever excited for Raiders of the Bargain
There's
Bin?
been some times where we're like pleasantly surprised.
I mean, like, I was...
Have we? All right, so let me ask this question. Have we ever been looking forward to watching a Bargain Bin movie
I do enjoy it.
and then been let down like this?
Oh, well, this one, I want to just preface this before we ever get to that segment. It's just saying I've watched some of the best films I've ever seen in my life and some of the worst films I've ever seen in my life with you guys, and it's honestly an honor.
It is an honor. It is an honor and a privilege. This was one of the worst.
I've seen truly terrible films with you, and this one really, I think, might take the cake.
I feel like that entire segment is just gonna be us just basically
Just
screaming
sighing.
into the void.
I will also preface this by saying I was, despite knowing it was going to be a shit show and just like a psychedelic journey into cat buttholes, I was really excited to record that show because it was a lot of fun. Was it a
cats.
horrible fucking movie? Yes. But was that a fun episode to record? Absolutely.
But that was entertainingly bad.
Yes.
It was entertaining.
This was not that.
This was Brittany, Matt, and myself all asking, why is this movie still on? How many endings are there? This isn't the Return of the fucking King.
It was. Oh man,
Please,
did
my
it try to be
friends,
as serious
you
as it
know.
though?
Oh God.
We'll get there.
We're gonna get there, but before we do get to that, Matt, who do we have to thank this week from our awesome EIP VIPs?
We give thanks for this, our daily bread, to Billy Peets, Heather Reppert, Rob Migliaccio, Michael Cox, Nikki Veazey, Matt Moore, Cabria Wimbush, Rob Carter, Connor McClinton, and Nick Castellano.
Yay! Thank you, EIP Veeps. You guys rock. And as always, guys, if you want to become an EIP VIP or support our show, just head on over to everythingispermitted.com and click on that Patreon tab. If you can't support us financially, Apple Podcasts is a great place to leave us a 5-star review if you like our show. And from there, we're just going to keep watching Brittany color in her...
Brittany's doing her
Fuck you, Man in Arms has an orange
sheet.
helmet. And, wait, can I borrow your green? He's got green armor.
Oh,
Oh,
Jesus
Jesus
God.
Christ. Speaking of the good book, I loved our little conversation last night, Brittany. I was like, you posted on Facebook. It was like, I told you, hey, I read the good book every night before I go to bed. And she's like, Dune? I was like, yeah, Dune.
My God.
Before we get into rants and raves, let's talk about this while we're recording instead of off mic. You have a bit of a prediction about Dune.
So I watched the trailer for Dune. Now, I will say this. I am a lover of highbrow science fiction, of cerebral shit and all, to a point. I mean, I don't like something that's so obtuse that I don't, the point is in another galaxy, literally. But I watched the Dune trailer and it looks like a very good movie. Do not mistake me for one moment when I say this, but my prediction with Dune is that it's going to be a gorgeous movie. It's going to be, for many people, a classic thing of science fiction, but much like Denis Villeneuve, is how you say his last name, Brittany?
Villeneuve,
whatever.
We're never gonna get
it's
it.
literally Newtown.
The guy, the guy who directed the last Blade Runner 2049, is, I don't think the movie's going to do well. I think it might have that initial like hit of people seeing it, and then I think it's going to drop hard and fast because the Dune fans, I don't think, are as plentiful as you think.
You're wrong.
You are wrong.
This is the same thing people would have said before Lord of the Rings came out. They're just like, oh, this.
And that is
like,
a very good point.
It's very comparable to Lord of the Rings.
And how many Blade Runner fans were out there, and that movie did not do well.
But Blade Runner wasn't.
The first one, or are you talking about the second one?
I'm talking about the second one.
Okay. I went and saw that, and I thought the movie did really well in box
It didn't.
office.
It didn't have a good box
at all.
Didn't?
No.
Whatever. Well, that's because it was a sequel to the first one, and people didn't go to see it because they hadn't seen the first one.
The first one's like a classic science
No, but
fiction
it doesn't
movie.
the
matter,
general
though.
public doesn't see it.
And
how many people have seen Dune?
Matt, here's no one.
How many people have read the Dune book?
If the first
shit
one,
ton, dude.
yeah, like there's a lot of people. It's considered one of the greatest sci-fi works.
It is, when you talk about Lord of the Rings, it's literally, people will have a Lord of the Rings conversation and then talk about Tolkien, and then Dune will come up and people will talk about Frank Herbert. Dune is to sci-fi what Tolkien is and Lord of the Rings is to fantasy. And as to your comment about Blade Runner, even though Blade Runner is considered a sci-fi classic,
It's a cult classic,
It's also considered a cult classic. We think it's popular because we're nerds and we talk to the same people. But it's actually not that huge of a movie, even though it is considered a sci-fi
Most
classic.
people my age didn't watch Blade Runner when they were younger. I was obsessed with it.
Here's the deal with Dune and why I'm going to disagree with you. One, the Dune fans out there are plentiful. And every person I talk to, whether they're a big sci-fi fan or a sci-fi fan, say that it is their favorite book of all time. Not just sci-fi book, like it is their favorite book of all time. It is my favorite book of all time. I've read it. I've lost count. I'm reading it again right now. I've started my read. The reason that you don't think of Dune fans is because there's just been nothing plentiful to satisfy the need, like that
Fan base.
Well, that fan base, because the David Lynch film was a disaster, though some people consider that a cult classic. God knows why.
I think it's just for like the production and the costumes and stuff.
And then the Sci-Fi Channel miniseries were good, but they were on the Sci-Fi Channel and they were
a miniseries on the Sci-Fi Channel.
Yeah, low budget. So
R.I.P.
They did the best they could, but like this is what Dune fans have been wanting. It's like people who, like get something but not a lot out of like the Hobbit animated film, right?
Know what I'm hearing?
This is going to be, I think, God, knock on wood, the defining Dune film, and I think people are also going to go see it for the cast alone. I mean, this cast is ridiculous.
Think of all the young girls who are like, Timothée Chalamet.
Well, there's that alone.
I have never heard a single woman express anything about Timothée
There's a lot
Chalamet.
of young women that are
anyway,
kids.
I'm hearing excuses though about why other Dune property stuff didn't do that well in the past, but this one.
Well, yeah, because it was made into one cheesy ass '80s film, which half the fans like, half the fans don't like because it wasn't super accurate. But the ones that never read the book love it.
As I said, well, don't get me wrong. I don't wish this movie to do bad, and I hope it does well. But I don't think it's going to be this massive box office smash.
Well, we are less than 3 months away now.
We'll talk about it later.
Very exciting. We will. We'll probably talk about the trailer on next week's show. We had too much to do on this week's show, but yeah, maybe next week's show. Let's get into some rants and raves, and who wants to go first?
Okay, I'll go first. I know I've said this before, but fuck Ubisoft so fucking hard. Because
Can we just also add into that real quick, fuck Activision and Blizzard as well, because it's the same situation, or is this a different hot topic?
Okay, so my fuck Ubisoft thing, obviously, their whole culture thing and all that, it is fucking terrible. I would recommend you read up on it, but at the same time, be prepared to get angry, very, very angry if you do. But I will say in the more personal first world problems way. So I play Watch Dogs Legion a little on and off. It's an okay game for what it is. I don't hate it, even though I know a lot of people didn't care for it. However, they released a expansion for it, a story expansion, which, okay, fine. You know, I bought the expansion, and it brought back 2 characters from the previous Watchdog games. The first game's Aiden Pierce, and the second game, a side character by the name of Wrench. So it was a question that I saw asked in a review of the game on Xbox Live that I saw, where somebody was like, can I play as Aiden in the main campaign? Like, because Bloodlines is the campaign, you only play as Aiden and Wrench. You can't play as anybody else. The answer is no. And then I logged into Watch Dogs today, and I could see you could buy each character for about roughly $15 a pop to be in your main campaign.
Womp
And
womp.
Oh boy.
remember, this is after buying, if you bought the $20 DLC Bloodlines and played through it, which I beat it. I played through the campaign, I beat it. And now the game is asking and saying, hey, buy some of our shitty in-game currency to unlock these other characters and such that should have been included with the DLC. That should have happened. It didn't. And fuck them for doing that. It pissed me off so much when I saw, I logged in this morning before we recorded and was playing a little bit, and I opened up the storage because I was curious, and I saw the 2 of them there, and I was like, you've got to be fucking, I actually said out loud, like, you've got to be fucking kidding me. And so, yeah, fuck Ubisoft for their little, bullshit that they do here and there. But yeah, especially this is the latest brick in their wall of fuckery. So
Also would like to add to the Ubisoft hate this rumored idea, maybe not, it's not even a rumor anymore.
No, they announced it.
Of Assassin's Creed becoming a live service.
Yeah, fuck that.
Right on off with that. Like,
that is so fucking
off.
Oh my God.
It's like we watched that movie last night, and they knew, because as of an hour ago, there has been a Bigfoot sighting in Michigan. And it has experts confused because Bigfoot
doesn't exist, and
Amazing.
it looks like the Bigfoot
It's
from the
grainy as
movie.
fuck. And we have better quality cameras
know,
nowadays, and
I
there's
know.
always a fucking blurry photo.
Yeah,
They know we watch this film.
they do. They're like, let's make sure they mention this on the podcast.
oh my God.
It hurts my brain physically.
I'm going to rave about Star Trek and this week, and how awesome it is that we're getting season 2 of Lower Decks in a couple weeks. And of course, we'll have to have you on for an episode or 2 to talk about season 2 episodes on A Strange New Pod.
He said 2-3 times in that sentence.
I did. Did you like that?
It was great.
2.
Maybe I'll do it 2 more times. Did you watch the trailer yet?
I think I did, but I don't. I'd have to watch it again because I know that it's like him it's like him freaking out on the Titan. He's like, "Oh my God, we're all gonna die!"
There's another one.
Okay.
And then they also released the first trailer for the new animated kids show, Star Trek Prodigy, which looks freaking beautiful. And I'm just stoked that like Star Trek has taken this big leap into animated series, and just like doing our social media channels for that podcast, like it just looked so cool doing trailer breakdowns and having all this beautiful color from animation. And you guys know how I feel about animation. It just is so cool, and everything looks so beautiful. And it's good for Star Trek fans. It's good for kids who, maybe watch Lower Decks but didn't understand some of the references, and like really, have been wanting, something that's really geared towards them. And I hope that my kids love Prodigy, judging by that trailer. I think they're going to. It's awesome.
It is the wormhole that will enter that generation into Star Trek.
Yes, indeed.
No profits at all.
That's it. Just a short little rave. I'm excited for those shows. We get Lower Decks in 3 weeks.
I am hyped for that.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun.
Woo!
Yeah. So get in, Ensign. We're doing sci-fi shit. You don't have anything? You went. I went. Damn, we're on a roll this week. Let's get into the
Permitted Minute.
Permitted minute.
Fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah.
It is the permitted minute.
I was
Killed
listening to that clip, by the
And I'm
way, in the car
conflicted.
before I came in. What? Fuck yeah.
You got to know Sam Elliott's done one of those like diabetes commercials before, like one of those
Diabetes.
It is the Permanent Minute, and we are going to go here in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Mr. Gata, start the clock.
The delayed 2020 Tokyo Olympic Games kicked off this week, and the opening ceremonies kicked off, it was in there twice, with music from beloved games like Sonic, Final Fantasy, Chrono Trigger, and many more.
Fringe's Anna Torv will play the role of Tess in the upcoming HBO Max adaptation of The Last of Us. And The Spice Must Flow, the second trailer for Denis Villeneuve's Dune, debuted this week. That's all. That's the message.
Light the signal. In the Heights, Leslie Grace is headed to Gotham as she takes on the role of Batgirl / Barbara Gordon.
If rumors are to be believed, Vincent D'Onofrio will return as Wilson Fisk, a.k.a. the Kingpin, in the upcoming MCU Hawkeye series.
The Mahershala Ali-led MCU Blade film has found its director in Bassam Tariq. And finally, headed to a galaxy far, far away, 2 major characters from Star Wars Rebels are rumored to be cast. Aladdin's Mena Massoud will play Ezra Bridger, with Lars Mikkelsen reprising the role of Grand Admiral Thrawn in live-action form.
Assume we
I
made
should
it?
have proofread
made
mine
it.
a
Yeah,
little
'cause
bit
you
more
said it.
because it was like finally fantasy. I almost, as soon as
I
I
know,
read
like,
that, I almost started laughing my ass off.
I'm gonna
Finally, fantasy.
give myself a little bit of a break on the typos here, because I was writing the Permanent Minute
While you were watching
while we
the
were
horrible
watching
movie.
this really shitty movie. And,
Oh god, it was just funny
and we
as hell.
still made it.
as the Wilson Fisk. I'm sorry, It's so
the-
great.
Okay.
The Wilson Fisk, aka the
Oregon
Kingpin.
State University. I want to do some very quick odds and ends about this rumored Star Wars news. What do you guys think about these 2 possible castings for the Ahsoka series?
Sounds gooch, if true.
Yeah, I mean,
how I feel.
Lars Mikkelsen, I think you said last night, is the voice of Thrawn. So
And he's got the look.
Everybody likes the
Yeah.
Mickelsons.
The Mickelsons are amazing.
yeah,
Mads, Lars.
I haven't seen the live action Aladdin,
I
but
don't want to see it.
yeah, I don't really.
I don't
either.
want to see
Yeah,
it at
but
all.
from the trailers, I know how he looks, and he looks pretty Ezra.
He looks
so.
pretty Ezra. That's the best you could say. Anything? What about this? We're getting a lot of rumors that, I mean, listen, with everything going on with the multiverse, the rumors are probably true. Like Matt Murdock showing up in She-Hulk, Kingpin
That
now
makes
showing
sense,
up in
though.
Hawkeye. But Hawkeye's going to be in New York,
yeah.
So, I mean, these characters coming back, this is probably the best
The
way
best thing
to.
about the MCU is it's so vague. They can show up at any point in time in this Phase 4 or not.
Yeah,
So theorize all you want, kids. You'll probably be right.
yeah, that's a good point.
Like, who knows? Spitball. Throw
yeah.
a dart. Somebody will land.
And then I'm personally stoked about the Leslie Grace casting for Batgirl, and I also love seeing all the basement nerd tears
about
online
it?
saying, "Oh, she's white, and my Batgirl's only a redhead." To which I say, Barbara Gordon is a brunette. Like, shut the fuck up. That's Batwoman who has red hair. You dumb son of a bitch. Yeah, basement nerd tears.
Sometimes she has had red
Sometimes
hair,
she has had red hair. Fair enough. She has.
Here comes
though.
Brittany.
Unfortunately, I'm like,
Yeah.
okay.
Brittany did the nerd. Well, actually,
no. I was like,
I know. I'm
sometimes.
just
Do it. No, I won't hit it. I won't hit that button.
Actually.
actually.
That's okay.
Push up the glass.
You made me
I have
do
to
it.
listen to people do that all day at the shop, and I just stare at them. I'm just like, yeah, okay, whatever.
I hate
You should just-
everything about you.
How many times, Brittany, have you been here and you've been ringing them up and they do that, and then you just go, "Your total is $50.02," and just
all the time.
I would hope.
I just ignore them. I phase it out at some point. Dude, teenage boys are the fucking worst. I hate them.
What?
They
No.
also have no clue what the fuck they're talking about. So the first, they were terrible. There was a group of like 3 of them that came yesterday. Weren't even buying anything, just walking around asking questions about everything. And I was just like, I know that you're not this stupid, but I also don't want to say like, stop acting stupid if you really are this stupid. But like, it was just
That was
annoying.
Brittany's rant, everybody.
to the point where when they left, even Wade was like, Jesus, I hope I wasn't like that. He's like, I was probably worse, but Jesus.
Oh, man. All right, guys, let's get into our first segment of the day, and that is Star Wars The Bad Batch, episode 13, Infested. And Matt, we will start with you.
Once again, the animation, I said this because we watched it at your place last night. Animation continues its improvement, which still kind of surprises me because at this point, I'm just thinking that they basically went cheap on the early episodes just so they could have the big stuff later on. So once again, thumbs up for the animation and all that stuff like that. This episode, however, did wasn't kind of another spinning its wheels episode. Didn't really advance the plot too much. Introduced this new dude just out of nowhere. They just land and suddenly, this dude took over Sid's parlor, she called it.
Yeah.
Took over Sid's parlor. Like, who is this dude? Why? What? Like, where did all this come from? Like, how did Sid, who seems like she's a well-prepared gal, like, let this happen and all that, blah, 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 blah. And also, I wasn't a huge fan with and I know this is technically a kid's show with the kind of Disney ending of, like, instead of letting the Pikes, I think was the name of the criminal organization that was they were dealing with. Instead of letting them take him away, like, no, don't kill him. Like,
they were just going to cut his head off right there.
Yeah, I know, but doing all that thing rather than just maybe doing the whole thing of they take him away and you never see this character, we don't really give a shit about. They cut his horn off, and so yeah, there were things I liked about it and things I didn't like about it. I would pretty much call it an average episode. Like, animation, yes, plot, eh.
I agree with all that wholeheartedly. I will say that Infested didn't get me much more invested.
Oh my God, Brittany.
That was the wrong song.
Ooh,
baby
I
Yoda.
haven't heard in so long. That made my heart swell.
I was going to do. No.
Dude,
gotta leave
that
all
movie
that in.
last night fucked you up.
You gotta leave all that in.
Bad place. I'm going to leave it all in. But you were supposed to get one of these.
It's Brittany, bitch.
Yes.
There it is.
Said she got a ooh.
It's still the
We're
funniest thing.
just really grasping to get the Mandalorian back. That's all.
It's true. It's still the funniest thing that Rob walked into Wade's with his mom that one week, and he said, "It's Brittany, bitch," and his mom was like, "Oh my God, I can't believe you said that to her. That's so rude." And she was like, "Are you okay? You can hit him." And I was like, "No, it's just funny." So I still think about that now when I hear it. I was like, "No," I was like, "It's a joke we do together." Anyway. Yeah, animation and voice acting has been top tier throughout the show. It was funny that once again they had Sam Riegel and Liam O'Brien in together because they're like best friends in real life, and their characters are like back to back in scenes if they don't interact. So like Liam O'Brien did the voice of one of like the Pikes, and Sam Riegel was like one of the guys that like stole the creature early on. Did it move the plot forward? No. Was it kind of cute and fun? Sure. I mostly just like the creatures in that like mine area and the fact that it was so Lord of the Rings.
It was so Lord of the Rings.
So that's what made it fun for me. And I guess this guy that they introduced was kind of interesting. I didn't really feel anything for him, but I guess it's Omega character development. Omega. To go up and, I don't know, be like, even bad people might have some good in them because their dog likes them.
What about Crosshair, Omega? What about Crosshair? No.
I think that's what's leading up to, because then it'll happen. She'll be like, you know, when I saved that guy from getting his head chopped off. It'll be terrible.
I don't know if it was just because we watched this directly after watching this horrible fucking movie that we're going to talk
Did
about.
you want him to get his head chopped off?
But I really hated this episode. I really did. I thought it was lame.
Yeah.
I thought it did nothing for the series.
Mm-hmm.
And this show has had this horrible fault of just like not moving the plot along. And this is the same with this episode. And I just found the whole situation unrealistic anyway. Like,
It was. They caused the whole problem themselves.
yeah, like, she's smart. Like, she's not just going to let some dude, like, take over her parlor or her den or her
bar.
her crack den, like, whatever you want to call
It's
it.
a
opium
spice
den.
den,
It's a
sir.
spice den. Sorry, spice den.
The spice must flow.
Like,
I like seeing space fold before me.
she's okay. Okay, there, Spacing Guild.
Spice.
Monopolies.
Hawk-coded.
Could just get into the politics, dude. Oh my
That's
god.
right. You still have that board game we got to play.
We have
It's
to.
all about politics.
I just wanted this episode to be over. I thought, one, they completely ripped off Lord of the Rings. They completely ripped off Gringotts from Harry Potter and the Gringotts ride at Universal Studios. I think Disney was like, let's make this something like Matt even said, like,
Like a
gonna
ride.
turn this into a ride. Didn't you say that?
I said-
Someone said. One of you said
I know.
that.
I think Brittany said something, and I said, like, what about Indiana Jones and Temple of Doom and the
Yep.
minecart ride?
And I've had this issue since the last season of Clone Wars with Ahsoka and the what are the sisters'
Ahsoka
names again?
Tano.
The
Oh.
Marquez, not
Yeah, something.
anyway.
I don't remember.
The two sisters. I don't buy the Pikes being like this super evil crime organization. Like, there's much worse crime organizations in Star Wars, and they just look like idiots with their big heads and small faces. And I know
racist.
being a little Star Wars racist.
I think it was
and
just
Come to
xenophobic.
Coruscant and take our
It was their
jobs.
excuse to have Liam O'Brien speak really slowly.
Yeah,
and
I hate the Pike
demanding.
design. I think it's lame. I think it's stupid. This
This is not a negotiation.
This episode just sucked. This is my least favorite episode of the season.
Yeah, it wasn't good.
It wasn't
This
good.
should have been a earlier episode, I feel.
I think it would have been better had they cut the dude's head off.
Yeah.
Like,
well,
I was waiting for it. I was like, are they going to finally go dark? And then they're like, chopped off his horn. And then he was only like, for half a second. I'm like, didn't that fucking hurt? Are you like
Right.
an Andorian? Like,
Right.
does that mean something to you when you lose a horn?
He just
And
kind
we
of
made a
accepted
lot
it
of
too.
inappropriate jokes.
I like how we just it's true.
He's not as horny.
I like
now.
how we've brought in 2 other franchises into
Yeah,
the
we
show,
have.
like Star Wars, Star Trek, and Dune. I don't know what else to say about this. It was just bad. It was not. The Bad Batch were bad this week.
This whole show has been a bad batch of episodes.
I also like. I also one of the things that I thought was out of character is that when they had to go and get the crates of spice because the Pikes were like, "Oh, you better go get that shit, or else we're just gonna kill you guys too."
Mm-hmm.
Is why did Sid put her life at risk? She doesn't strike me as the type
No.
to
Because
do
she cares
that.
about
Yeah.
Omega.
Yeah, but still,
Literally, but
That's
you can care
literally
about
it.
Omega and be like, "Yo, Goggles, go get on that thing and go down there with big guy."
I love how
she's
you
one
love
of the-
Sid though. Sid is awesome.
Sid is like one of
Yeah.
the better parts of the show.
Yeah.
I think she just wanted to prove that she was like willing to do that.
But this all stems from it
She was
not
also
being
working the-
believable
the
that Sid
hammer.
would let that happen. Like Sid
Yeah.
is smarter than that, and they just were like, "What could we do this week to get them into?"
She
some
got them
trouble?
city smarts.
Yeah,
That was a bad pun. I realized.
I
Yes.
it was bad.
Thank you, Brittany.
It was almost as bad as the Bad Batch.
Tragic.
My
Now, where's Omega?
my other complaint is that this episode followed up 3 really good episodes of the show, and it went from like really good all the way down to very bad. And
And that's what happens when you give something 16 episodes.
yeah, and now I'm like, there's 3 left, 14, 3 episodes left. Like, where is this going? And I'm not, dude.
I literally have no clue.
It's like Brittany.
I'm not
Nobody
gonna lie.
knows where the show is fucking going.
I'm kind of hoping at this point that the show doesn't get renewed.
And that's it.
I don't need it. I don't
get how
need
it was really like green line to begin with, Because like the one thing is like it made sense in the first episode because like okay, that established Kanan as a kid, like this is this group, and you feel really invested, and then like the mystery doesn't really happen. Like you're like, what is Omega? What is all this? And then they kind of let you know, but it's in a really like underwhelming way, and you're like, that's it. Where's it going still? So they're just dudes with a kid. They're not even really on the run anymore, but they keep running into trouble because they don't make good decisions. I don't know.
I don't
Maybe kids don't care,
understand
but I
how,
don't know.
like you said, how the show gets greenlit from an episode of the Clone Wars where there are a couple
Well, that
episodes where
4-part finale
yeah,
that was insane.
well, yeah, but and they're featured heavily, but like, did they really need their own series? And the answer is starting to become very clearly no.
They wanted money. They wanted to push out
Yeah.
more merch.
They're like,
That's-
kids need more Star Wars shows in between Mandalorian.
Listen,
we
they
gotta
they
do it.
literally could have just said we're doing Clone Wars season 8. It's the aftermath of episode of Order 66. We're gonna feature the Bad Batch of Clones heavily, but like to give them their own show and put Omega, who is a good character but is all but useless at this point, is just a baffling decision on my part. On their part,
I feel like they didn't want to taint that finale they had. They're like, yeah, this show's got to end there because that was sweet as hell.
No, I mean that's also a good point.
So I cried for 4 hours straight.
I don't really have much more to say about this. This was boring.
Well, the fun part is our reviews get shorter and shorter every week,
They
just
do.
like the episodes. So we can move on to bigger and better things, like the man who fucking killed Hitler and Bigfoot.
Oh my god. I'm gonna give you. That was well done.
Thank you.
It was cruel, but it was well
We've reached the
done.
point where we're like, watch it or don't. We don't care. We're still
The
doing
only
it.
reason
God
we're
knows
still
why.
talking about it is because
we made
committed.
it this far.
Yeah. So
Unfortunately.
I don't know how many other podcasts or anything are like this committed to the Bad Batch. that
I
they-
mean, I'm guessing probably a couple. But
Maybe
I don't-
Star Wars focused
Star Wars
ones.
focused podcasts. Let's rate this one out of 5 of that dude's now missing horn.
I'm gonna give it a 1 out of 5 because it's how many horns he has left. So, and that's I don't know. I was just like, it's an episode. Didn't do anything for me. animation and voice acting is great, but that's what happens when you have great animators and great voice actors.
I'll go 1.5 just because animation, copious amounts of Sid.
0.5 for Omega.
No, not for Omega.
No.
I was kind of hoping when she was like, "No, don't kill him." Like, all right, we'll kill you instead.
Yeah, right.
Boom. Could you imagine the show would have been fucking wild?
Imagine if they did that. I would be like, "Holy shit!"
And then the show completely flips.
Oh,
They're all out for revenge.
Shit would be
killing everybody in the Empire. Oh,
dark.
God.
Dark.
We can only
Darker than the
dream.
dark side. 0.5 out of 5.
Oh my!
Fuck this episode. It was really bad. I have nothing else to say. It was bad.
Well, we better get on to, I would say bigger and better, but not really that, huh?
No, we're going from bad to worse.
Even the feet weren't big. He even said that. Bigfoot's feet weren't even as big as they should have been.
Before Brittany goes off,
Let down.
let's hit it.
Dormammu, I've come to bargain.
The Raiders of the Bargain Bin.
And boy,
Fuck
did
yeah.
we bargain.
I do have good news for you, Julian. If you don't want to keep that DVD in your possession anymore,
I thought you took it
coworker-
with you.
oh, did I?
No,
I
it's on
didn't.
my. Oh,
Yeah.
it's still on my. Stand.
Okay, so if you don't want it, I can give you $5 unless you don't care at all.
I don't care about the money.
But
It's not
my
about the money.
coworker is like
I just
driven.
don't want to kill
he
anybody
wants to
anymore.
see this movie now. So I was like, I can give you the DVD because I'm pretty sure Julian doesn't want it.
I
So,
can give you the DVD on the terms that you don't give it back.
Yeah, that's what I'll do. I'll be like, here you go.
But
it's
say
yours.
that to him too.
No, I will. But he and his friends want to watch it because we're like, this is truly terrible. And he's like, where can I find it? And I was like, we literally got it for $5 at Walmart.
In your
You
local
can
bargain
fucking
bin.
have it.
Yep. It is yours. We will give it to you. Oh boy.
The critic score makes me wanna throw up.
let's talk about the Rotten Tomato score because this is deceiving as all hell.
Certified fresh.
I really, so one of these days I'm actually going to go back through, because I've already kind of started to do it a little bit where I've tried to like organize our previous bargain bin episodes, at least on some stuff that I have. I want to get like an overall thing of different critic scores of some of the movies we watched and compare this to some of the other things we've seen and marvel at how this score is so high and other movies which we've watched, which are far worse. And the movies I would say are more entertaining.
I would
and
watch
better.
Robin Hood again.
Wow.
Which, it hurts, but at least there's explosions. You know? Like, it's one of those
Sparks
things.
and
Like, it at least had a vague plot.
Yeah.
It wasn't good, but there was a plot.
Here's why I would watch this movie over Robin Hood.
Nope.
No, listen. It's because I wouldn't have to tune into it.
Oh,
right?
you could just look away.
It would just be like white noise. Whereas like if I hear an explosion or if I hear fucking Jamie Foxx being an idiot in that movie, like I'm gonna have to look up at the screen and go, oh,
I love hearing the welding in the background when it's
Yeah.
the fucking industrial age and the Middle Ages. What?
Yeah, let's talk about this critic score, which is at 74% certified fresh. Are you fucking kidding me?
There's no way.
Uh,
Did people see this in
It
theaters?
had to be a fucking joke. I feel like some critics got together and were like, yo, man, this movie sucked. Yeah, but let's say it's good. So we'll bump up its
We'll
Rotten
trick people into
Tomatoes
watching
score.
it.
My only other guess is that whichever studio put this out, like hardcore paid off some journalists and were like, we'll give you a bunch of free copies and you could interview Sam Elliott and this and this and this. They're like, all right, fine.
We'll send you
Like,
a
if it
bottle of
came
white
out during
wine.
COVID, maybe I could understand people were that bored for entertainment. But, like, it was 2018. Things were still popping back then. We were fine.
The
we weren't
MCU
okay,
was
but we were
going
fine.
strong.
Yeah, I don't.
Oh man.
Yeah, there's some MCU films that I feel like have less of a critic rating than that I would easily
Thor:
watch.
The Dark World is like next to this, and that's a far superior movie. And people don't like that one.
and people
that
thought
much.
that dialogue was boring.
Yeah, right. Oh God.
Right?
White wine.
And now the audience score, which I still think is like, are you kidding me? 51% of audiences like this movie. To which I say, were you stoned? Were you drunk? Were you both?
Bigfoot and Hitler weren't even in 51% of the film.
No. I mean,
What were you watching?
That's what I have to say. Like, people are like, this movie's called The Man Who Killed Hitler and Bigfoot. Let's do some shrooms before we go see this, and fucking loved it. That's where I'm at.
Well, then, because that way it leaves much room for improvement.
I put myself first here because, oh my God,
Megan.
Oh my.
I do kind of love Omega, though. Now that she's less like, send me on missions.
This movie started really strong. Like, really strong, right? When he walks into the building and he's...
The swastika?
Dude, exactly.
That was my highlight, and that was the first 5 minutes.
It gets you in thinking like, oh, this is going to be fun. Because, like, he forgets to do the Heil Hitler to the guy guarding Hitler's office, and he's unloading all his swastika and Nazi memorabilia. It's
The swastika
funny.
watch.
The swastika watch.
Which he got to keep on.
And then, oh my God, like, an hour later, like, he kills Hitler
shoots
finally?
Hitler? Yeah.
Like, with flashbacks and flash forwards that make no sense, and, like...
It's all bad.
It's literally, like, someone had a good idea for the first 10 minutes of the film when that happens, and he also beats the shit out of the three thugs.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, oh, okay, I can maybe get on board with this. And then it is just...
And then nothing happens for the next hour.
It's a character study. It's a character study done all wrong. And I don't understand. I don't understand how someone could, an exec whose sole purpose for a movie studio is to make dollar bills, could sit in that board meeting and be like, this is going to make money. This is going to be good. Let's do it. Let's get on board. For a movie like Brittany said that Hitler and fucking Bigfoot aren't featured for probably more than 51% of
Maybe
this movie.
combined for the two characters, 20 minutes tops that film has Hitler
No, Hitler was...
Well, Hitler was literally like 5 seconds.
Yeah, Hitler was literally long enough just to open up the letter.
Yeah. So maybe 10 minutes tops.
And then let me say, one, they got the same actor to play Hitler that plays Hitler in every other goddamn movie. And then Bigfoot. Oh my God, was Bigfoot like the alien for outer space? And do you know what my favorite fucking moment of this movie is? The moment
The
they
fire?
go no
Okay,
no
what?
when they're like sitting in the barber shop and it's this character study, and all of a sudden it literally becomes the X-Files movie in the cornfield. And they're in the big fucking domes.
Yep.
And he's in his white long johns, and I'm like, this is the longest, most boring episode of the X-Files ever.
It is. And there are some rough episodes of X-Files. I would watch any of those over this.
This is like
I've been rewatching the
This is like
X-Files.
one of those episodes that doesn't feature Mulder and Scully, and you just have to get through it and get
Yep.
to the next episode.
And it's still Monster of the Week, but the Monster of the Week doesn't appear until 5 minutes at the very end of the fucking episode.
And this was also the last thing I'll say before you guys can go, is this is just the movie that would not fucking end.
Yeah.
It just wouldn't end.
Dude, it felt like it was 3 hours long,
and it was only an hour and
a half.
38 movies. Oh my God.
Hour and 38 movies.
It felt like an hour and 38
It did.
movies.
Oh my God. Anyway, I digress. Brittany.
I like how Brittany just closed the cap on the marker.
Nope.
I wish I could apologize for this movie because I was the one that added it to...
I was nice and didn't even blame
I know,
it on you
to
yet.
add it to the stack, but we did unanimously decide upon it because it sounded that fucking ridiculous, but also it was surprisingly fresh on Rotten Tomatoes, so we're like, oh, this must be one of those movies that's so bad it's like enjoyable and amazing and funny. And the first 5 minutes I was like, oh, cool. It's like Valkyrie, but he's got like, swastika watch and all this other... Like, I laughed out loud when I saw that. I was like, what the fuck is that watch? Like, the swastika moves around and it's the hands on the watch. And then you're like, oh, okay, I see. He's gonna, like, go to kill him. But, like, before he even reaches there, like, it jumps back. And I'm all for flashbacks in movies. Like, that works in a certain way, but they did it all out of order. And they kept going further back before he even got to Hitler.
Yep.
They kept getting like, now this is how he got to that point back then, 80,000 years ago. And then, yeah.
For all the people
Mm-hmm.
that complained about being confused during the Witcher flashbacks and the timeline there,
Yeah, this is
go
actually
watch this
confusing.
movie, and then you will never say a bad thing about The Witcher Season 1 again.
But it just gets you so excited because you're like, oh man, we're going to see him kill Hitler right away. And then like, it just goes through an hour of the most boring fucking conversations in present day and in the past and all this other shit. And then you're just like, when does he kill Hitler? When does he kill Bigfoot? When do they even mention Bigfoot? And it matters. So it's like when he drives in the car the one day with his dog, you hear like them talk about Bigfoot on the radio. And it's like half a second. But I'm like, okay, we're 30 minutes in and you just mentioned Bigfoot. It's so, I didn't even care about half the dialogue. I actually tried to pay attention, and then I just reached a point where I was like, okay, I'm waiting for these auctions to close for work. And maybe by the time I look up again, something cool happened. God, the worst thing for me, though, is when the government finally shows up at his doorstep, or
Ron
the FBI or
Livingston
whatever.
and the other dude from
Good
The
actors,
Magicians.
right?
Yeah, they're both
God,
fine actors.
This film was way too serious. Like,
Yep.
they took themselves too seriously. Like, you know the movie you're in. You know what it's called. Play to that to your advantage. But man, that whole dining room scene where they're like talking to each other and he's talking about, dude, you killed Hitler. You should feel good about that, even if the public doesn't know because it was like a government cover-up. But like, he feels conflicted about it, and it's really fucking weird and stupid. And then
How many movies reference wanting to go back in time and kill Hitler, and you're crying about it? Like,
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, man.
Okay, I'm sorry. I just want
Go
I need
ahead.
to interject real quick. I wanted that whole thing pissed me off because they could have done, because his whole fatalistic attitude about life and about killing and such. You killed one person, and that was Adolf Hitler, bro.
yeah.
Like because if they had done something where he could have been like, I saw those people being loaded on the trains and I couldn't do anything. Well, okay,
Yeah,
fine.
that
I
makes
understand
sense.
you being broken up about that, but he doesn't seem to care about that whatsoever.
He walks right by them, doesn't even look at them. I'm like, okay, just let all the
Like-
gays go off to die.
Like, I understand,
All the
like,
Jewish people,
he's
thanks.
undercover and all that stuff, but he doesn't seem to give a shit about that at all. But he seems to care that he took one of 3 Hitler's lives.
Yeah. Because then he was like, there were multiple people that were all dressed as Hitler. And the real one was like a super coward who killed himself in a bunker, but we all killed these other ones. And you're just like,
To which I
Okay.
say they're still Hitlers and they were still
Yeah.
Nazis and still awful
they were
fucking
still
human beings.
doing shitty things. Yeah, I don't know.
Because
The way he killed him was fun, at least, because it was like
yeah, he
a real
assembled
quick.
the gun and
Yeah,
everything.
all his, like, for the audience who I hope will never watch this film, he had different things on him, like a lighter, like a flask, a pen, a bunch of stuff that
Literally
they
the
checked,
only
they
good
checked
part of the movie.
downstairs. And then James Bond reassembled them into basically a gun that he put the flask on at the end to be a silencer. And then when he goes to see Hitler, he hands him like an envelope because he was like delivering something. And when Hitler opens it up, it says like, the U.S. Army needs you. It's like a propaganda poster. And then he's just like, bang, through the chest. And he's like, bang, through the head. And you're like, oh, cool. That was a really cool way of killing Hitler. You didn't even talk.
They could now see the thing is that one way you could have made this movie better is when the second time he shoots Hitler, it does like the bang cut and he's like in the woods like hunting Bigfoot. And he's like
Exactly. That
would
kind
have
of
been fucking
reflecting.
epic.
Well, when it finally happened, the Bigfoot, hunt down thing, remember how I said it should have been this the whole time, as he was always in the woods looking for Bigfoot,
Yeah.
and then it would flash back to what he did to lead up to Hitler and then like kill him, and how that's helping him now. But Jesus,
Brittany,
this movie's
you
bad.
brought up a great point last night after this movie was over, and we're like, "Do you guys just want to like go and make this movie on our own right now?"
We could've.
We could make this movie on an iPhone right now with zero budget and still make this movie
Especially
better.
the woods parts.
Yeah,
That shit was
we
fucking
got
rough.
Silver Lake, we got 5 Mile Woods. We could do it, and Matt could dress up as fucking Bigfoot.
that Bigfoot costume.
Oh my god!
But my favorite moment was when he thinks he kills Bigfoot. It's like crying and holding his hand. Bro.
even though
We didn't even talk about it.
even though it has been explained to him that Bigfoot is carrying a disease that will literally kill all
Yeah,
life on
that's
Earth.
the
To which
incentive.
he happens
Yes.
to somehow have a
He's immune to
Immunity
it. He's
to
one of the only people within a certain age range that's able to fucking not, I guess, break a hip climbing up a mountain to shoot him. But he like lays him on fire, like to burn the body or whatever, because he's literally carrying pestilence and shit. And then Bigfoot wakes up because I guess he just passed out to the front rows. And the film shifts completely. It feels like a completely different thing, like a B-rated, the shit you'd find in the back of Blockbuster next to like Killer Clowns
like
from Outer Space.
like a VHS
Yeah.
tape from the 80s movie.
And it like jumps out of the fire, it tackles him, like rips his ear off, throws up on him, like they're all fighting and stuff. And I was like, this is what I wanted the whole time. And then you could have given me flashbacks of like him killing Hitler, but instead it's like 8 hours of him having dinner with his girlfriend who he never proposes to before he leaves to go kill Hitler. Blah blah blah. And it's like literally it's like watching fucking paint dry.
This like another thing about this character is she leaves him because they stop forwarding her his mail and she thinks he's dead. Rather than like when he gets back, he goes and finds this woman who he apparently loves to death and everything. Doesn't do anything. Like they could have had a scene where maybe she's moved on, she's gotten with somebody else, and he has that dejected moment where now he's like really alone. But they
Yeah.
didn't do that. It's like he comes back, she's not there, and he's kind of like, okay,
Yeah,
I
she's
guess
like,
I'll just.
I
live my
moved away
sad
to go teach because there's a school near my parents. Everything will be okay. She doesn't even talk like that. She just talks like American. But like, that's the vibe I was
Brittany
getting.
just wanted to do the British accent.
One of our best moments, though, is when you two recognized the lady. I've never seen anything she's in, but then you were like, "Oh, she's this lady from this or whatever." And then
No, I
what did
thought
you
she
say?
was.
Yeah.
I thought she was the French actress
Yeah.
from
You're like, is she from
Inglourious
Inglourious
Bastards.
And I said, "No, that woman's way more hot."
Oh my
So yeah,
god!
because I was like, I've never seen this woman in my life.
Do you know what's even more sad about this
I ended.
movie? I think is, and yeah, Matt hasn't even gotten yet. Jesus
Mm-hmm.
Christ, is that I think Sam Elliott probably is proud of this movie in some way. To which I say, I'm sorry,
Why?
man. Why? Like, why
I
did
get
you
why
sign
at
up
first
to
you'd
this?
agreed to it because
Yeah.
you're like, that sounds ridiculous. Let's do
Let's
it.
do it.
But then at some point you read the script and you got to be like,
I don't know, guys. I don't know how
dialogue
this
was terrible. Remember, there were audible moments where like, well, oh, what was it? The brother said when they're sitting on the bench and he's just like,
Well, something
kept
love
repeating
is
stuff.
love, or dreams, or
yeah, he just kept
Yeah,
saying
so
things
he
all-
said
yeah.
something. I remember,
And I was
like
like,
everybody was like,
Bigfoots are
"Oh
Bigfoots."
god!"
And I'm just like,
till they're
shut
Bigfoots.
the fuck
It was
up.
terrible. And he got that like, now I understand that I guess the dude in the past who shaved him was his brother.
No,
But
that was
Oh,
just
it was a different guy still? Okay,
That
I
was
just
a
making
that was
sure.
a Russian partisan.
I just don't get why. Like, they were still.
You would think because I'm
don't know.
Russian that this would be vodka.
true.
That whole fucking-
we drink gin.
You think that
Fuck
because
off? This
he's
is
Russian,
gin. This is
he would
vodka.
have
Like
he would have cut the hair faster because he'd be Russian, but no.
that whole shaving scene was one of the weirdest fucking things I have seen in a movie.
It would like
recently.
should have been homoerotic, but it wasn't, so it just made it weirder.
Well, it's like the whole thing because his character shows up because they're Soviet partisans. That's exactly what they are, because they didn't say what year he killed Hitler. So
No.
I'm assuming it was like 43, 44 maybe ish. His character has a beard, and for some reason this Russian partisan who's been fighting Nazis for God knows how many years says, "I must shave you," or whatever. And he's like, "Oh, if I cut you, you will succeed in your mission, but I have to do it on accident. If I smoothly shave you, you will fail, and if I cut you on purpose, I will be cursed,
Having
and you will be cursed."
flashbacks.
It was
That
really
whole
weird.
thing was so weird. I remember just watching that and going, "What the fuck?
Yeah.
What does this do for the?" It did nothing.
And it was so weird
for the
'cause, like,
movie.
the movie started out so cool, and then it just flops for like an hour.
Yeah.
And then an interesting thing happens here, and then flops again. And then finally, Bigfoot. Ooh, that's Bigfoot? We were like placing bets. Julian was like, Bigfoot's never going to show up. And I was like, he probably will show up, but we'll be really disappointed about it. And I was right. I drew an emoji of Sam Elliott. And I just put, this is how I feel about the film. It's basically the shape of a smiley face emoji, but instead of a smile, it's his mustache that goes down into a frown, and then very bushy eyebrows. I don't like Sam Elliott.
I like
That was the
Sam
funny
Elliott.
part of this, right? Because you and I were both like, "Oh yeah, we like Sam Elliott," but I don't like.
I know.
Sam
I
Elliott.
even
Sam
paused
Elliott.
and I was like, I don't want to like hurt feelings here, but I was like, I don't.
No.
I've
hurt
never
feelings.
liked him.
Anyway,
I thought this film would be funny though. It wasn't.
Anyway, we've been talking about it for almost 20 minutes already. Matt hasn't even given his initial. Well, I mean,
No, I
guess
kind of
we're
have.
doing initial thoughts.
I mean,
but
it's a boring movie, which is one of the most cardinal sins a movie can be.
Yeah, it's supposed to be entertaining.
literally rule number one.
Yeah, I mean, just the title, The Man Who Killed Hitler, and then The Bigfoot, you think that title alone should get asses into seats, and for a wild ride where you walk out and be like, that movie was fucking insane,
Yeah, it
and
was
I loved it.
ridiculous. I loved every
But-
second of it.
Like that's what we should have walked away from this movie saying, but rather we're sitting here going like, it was so crushingly boring, and the character motivations made no sense. Like as was already said, this guy was all like, "Oh, I'm about this killing," and I was like, "You
You're
killed
a
Hitler."
hired killer.
Like, you killed Hitler, bro. That's the one person you killed, and you're acting like you've mowed through hundreds, and you know.
Yeah, this ain't Killing Eve.
And then at the end of the whole thing, he fakes his death for some reason, even though the government has never bothered him before this.
Yeah,
like
I don't know.
he was sent to kill Hitler in World War II, and then in 1987 they call on him to kill
But
Bigfoot.
wait a second. He fakes his own death, but then goes to his like niece's play or something at the end. I'd already lost.
Yeah,
all
by the
train
end, I
of
guess
thought.
he was ready to reassimilate
He
into
re-
society.
I'm
But he was
like-
walking around town with his dog. Like, people know who the fuck he is.
Yeah,
don't know.
so it's like,
don't
why? Because it's not like this dude had been sent on mission after mission, and then he's like, "I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore."
Yeah.
Like, they didn't do Didn't do that. It's just he's been called out for 2 missions. Now he has to play the whole, I need to make him think I'm dead, like card. Like, why, dude? They don't give a shit about you.
The fact that he killed Bigfoot and then there was still like 30 minutes left.
30
of the
fucking minutes.
And it was so fucking boring. And every time it would cut to like a part where we're like, okay, credits are going to roll. It fucking wouldn't. And we were like, what do you mean you kept the film going?
What do you
End it.
You thought Return of the King wouldn't end, folks. You haven't seen.
At least those
My
endings
friends,
were useful.
You bow to no one.
Oh my god.
This film, yeah, that's not the case with this film.
No.
It bows really bad.
I think
It sinks.
unless anybody has anything constructive to add to this, we should just put this one in its grave like they buried his uniform. Let's give this
Bigfoot.
one the good old bargain bin meter score.
Okay, I'll go first. I'm gonna go lowest. I love Sam Elliott. The dude has like an iconic voice, and if you haven't noticed it by now, I love his Robot Chicken skit when he does the white wine commercials. It is so goddamn hilarious just to hear Sam Elliott say "What wine? Fuck yeah!" But I will say Garage Sale, like the lowest of the low.
Mm-hmm.
This is complete. It's boring. I can take a movie being bad. Your was fucking terrible, and I love it.
Yeah, that movie's
This movie is just boringly bad. I wouldn't even put this on to like have a good time riffing it because you can
We
barely
tried
do.
to riff it.
You can barely do that.
We sat in silence most of the movie. Like, we couldn't even riff it. We were like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah,
Even Cecily, because we told her it was a bad
Oh,
movie,
yeah.
she's like, "Why are you guys still watching this?"
we committed,
We're like, we
Cecily.
have to. You don't understand because you're a child, but we have to finish it.
That was funny to hear. Why are you watching it if it's bad?
Do you want a s'more? Please, dear God, yes, give me a s'more.
She was the smartest person in the room.
She really was.
Yeah, hit it.
So I'm going to also go with our lowest official tier of, garage
You guys say
sale.
official tier because
Well,
you
yeah.
guys know
Well,
I'm going to
no.
make up a new
I
tier.
know
that
you
I'm also
are.
going to make up a new tier. That's why I was saying that. So garage sale is our lowest official tier. Like, if I saw this at someone's garage sale, I'd be like, oh, you're not going to sell that movie. Or if you do, someone's really going to think they're having a good time, but they'll get it for $1. And I would take this out to the Canadian wilderness, light it on fire, throw up on it, rip its ear off, and then bury it. And still, it would haunt me. I'd think about it every day for 40 years.
Ugh.
And the killing would not be enough for me.
So,
Oh boy,
And
here
that's
we
more
go.
character development than the character had. Look at that.
imagine that you're the last person on Earth, and you have a DVD player and a TV still, or a portable DVD player, and you're rummaging the Earth or rummaging an old dump for something to watch as you're the last person on Earth, and you came across this movie at the dump. I would look at it, I would put it back down, and I would move along my journey.
He's like, no,
No,
not this time.
I may be alone, and I may be wanting to put a bullet in my brain, but I will not watch this movie.
I think this movie would hasten that journey of killing herself.
He would be so depressed. It would be like
There's nothing left to live for.
sadder than that scene in I Am Legend where he has to put his dog down.
Oh God, that's
Yeah.
Oh. Anyway, I think this was an epic return to Raiders of the
yeah.
Bargain Bin. To come back after a bit of an absence and hiatus of Raiders of the Bargain Bin with probably the worst,
It was the most painful.
most painful. Let's say most painful.
I think it's just very hard when some films are so bad in such different ways. You're like, I can't. They hurt me.
Yeah.
But I will say, I think in a way it was punishment. You know,
It was
like we
punishment.
went 2 months without it, like instead of doing monthly because of scheduling and all the stuff we had to cover. And this was our
This movie was also so bad
We've
that
repented
I
for our
started
sins.
making
So
puns.
it was penance.
yeah, that's true.
I was punning, and I don't pun a lot.
yeah,
Um,
the true pun
Having a pun time.
is punning.
we actually have our next bargain bin movie picked out for next month, and goddamn, do
Thank
I
God.
wish that we watched this
I
last
know.
night instead. And that's saying something because this movie is apparently awful as well.
We were like 30 minutes in, and I was like, I'm so sorry, we're not watching that one.
Yeah, next month on Raiders of the Bargain Bin, we will be watching the Tom Cruise remake of The Mummy, and God help us for that one.
But at least Sophia
As well.
Boutte is in it.
That's the only thing that Brittany
Is she
cares
spooky and her eyes are like, "Ugh," and she was like, evil?
That's
Sure.
that's what everybody needs, a sexy mummy.
But could she still get it? Yes.
about. Yes.
God.
That's my favorite thing to say. I don't even really know what it fully means. But
Jennifer
like,
Connelly, you
do you see every time Snowpiercer posts on Facebook?
Yeah,
and I'm
I always see
underneath-
Brittany like, yeah.
I didn't realize I was logged in as the podcast page, and I put Melanie Forever with exclamation points, and I was like, oh, they're going to think our podcast is really into the women. We are. We love
We
that
are.
show.
I mean, let's be fair. here.
probably one of the only podcasts that covers Snowpiercer.
Fucking love it.
Let's get into our final and main segment of the day, and we are going to be talking about all 5 episodes of the new Kevin Smith Masters of the Universe animated series, Revelation. I will preface this by saying that this will be a spoiler review, so if you don't want spoilers, come back and listen after you've watched all 5 episodes. They're short, they're 25 minutes each, so binge it, come back, listen to our show. With that, I have the power! It is that time, folks. Masters of the Universe is back. Brittany, your first thoughts on Revelation.
I loved it. I know it's only like the first part of the story or whatever so far, but one, the animation is gorgeous. The voice acting cast we already knew ahead of time was going to be a lot of people we loved. So I was just pleasantly surprised. I think my favorite voice actor of them all is the woman who does Andra, just because I think that she does like a very like natural voice super well, and it's not a character you have to play up in like some cartoony weird way like the 80s. So that's Tiffany Smith. So I was pleasantly surprised by that, and also the fact that like the show focuses on Tila more than He-Man / Prince Adam, who I think is a bitch anyway. You know how I feel about the original show.
Damn.
Prince Adam. Nah, he's better in this. Like all the characters are better in this version. I liked that because like, you know, they set up the show to be, they show this like big showdown between Skeletor and He-Man and stuff, and leading up to it, even though it's called Masters of the Universe and not like He-Man in the Masters of the Universe. So they shouldn't get yelled at for that. I just like that it's exploring the lore more. It's the same way that I like the She-Ra reboot more than the original show. Because we all love this original 80s cartoon. It's goofy as hell. It's fun when you're a kid, but let's be honest, there were no plot to any of these series.
Not one bit.
Because
Bye, toys.
that wasn't a thing yet. They didn't have like whole season arcs of things. It was just episodic, like, oh, Skeletor's trying to take over this thing. Ah, you bumbling buffoon, you beefy boomrad. And then like He-Man would be like, douche, douche. And here's your
I have
lesson,
muscles.
kids. Yeah. So it's nice having female characters with agency, like the fact that it's focusing on Tila. Do I low-key ship her and Andra? Yeah. I don't want her to be romantically interested in Prince Adam. It doesn't seem like they're going to go that route. She just was like, wow, my best friend lied to me, and I feel betrayed. I'm going to shave half my head and work out more.
I do have to bring something up that was brought to my attention while we were recording, which I'm really fucking fuming about and pissed off. And if you haven't listened to our Black Widow review special yet, we talked about how it doesn't seem like fanboys and basement nerds were able to review bomb that movie for whatever reason. I think it's because you have to actually like log in with
You have to have a real
theater account now. This unfortunately has been review bombed by basement nerds who hate the fact that it is focusing on strong female leads. And I'm just like, could you please just get a fucking life and go home and just like rethink everything about yourself? Because like when you look at the critic score, it's like 94%.
Yeah, because
well
it's
deserved,
legitimately good.
and then you see the 32%. I'm like, just go home and rethink your life. If you have to go on the internet and bomb something just because you're a sexist fucking troll, like
they're also the type of people that are like very homophobic, but then also really want to see this guy who's all ripped and like wearing
a loincloth,
like a
literally a loincloth.
I want to see more of He-Man's throbbing muscles.
This isn't my childhood. Kevin Smith is making this show. Like he's making it for people like you, and you're still finding a problem with it.
Yeah.
That's a you thing, not a rest of us thing. But I'll stop at that for now because more of these points will hit on it later.
Matt, you're up.
Yeah, I also really dug it. Because at first I was slightly confused as to like where, and then I just kind of thought of it as it's just a continuation of the original TV series. That's exactly what it is. Because, you know, they reference like, oh, for years they've been fighting Skeletor, and he's like kind of like a joke because none of his plans ever work and blah, 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 blah. So yeah, I really dug it. It was kind of refreshing to not just have episode after episode of He-Man just going, I have the power, and just transforming and all that other stuff, because then that would have gotten old and kind of stale. I do, wish that they kind of released the whole season rather than just, 5 episodes, rather than do the whole big cliffhanger ending. I'm not a fan when shows do that anymore.
I think that partly has to do with that this was, I think, created partially during the pandemic, and animation and doing this kind of stuff, especially with this voice cast, takes a very long time. I think watching the special features of Lower Decks, they said that to create a full season, and that's 10 episodes, it takes a year.
Yeah.
So I'm not shocked that
Animation
they released
always
only
takes a long
5
time.
episodes of this. I'm not as torn up about that, but I could still understand. Like, you want more. Right?
I am slightly concerned because are they working on these last 5 episodes? Are they done?
Yeah,
or?
like
Yes.
it's
Yeah,
already
yeah.
been a
So
thing.
the question I have then is there the concern then that because of stupid fanboy, quote unquote fanboy backlash, that they do some different things to
No.
the plot
No.
or whatever?
They
Not
wouldn't
one
have
bit.
time to rewrite it and redo it all.
One,
It would take 2
they
years
they
to come
wouldn't
out.
have time for that. 2, the majority of actual real fans are loving this show, and that's who they're listening to. Netflix isn't going to look at the Rotten Tomatoes score and be like, oh, like we need to give in to the basement nerds. That's so. I don't want to give these assholes too much talk time on our podcast, but I think it's important. Big groups, and we've mentioned them before, like Doomcock, Nerdrotic,
All things I don't look at anyway.
Fandom Menace. They live to get clicks and talk shit on these things because they know it'll get likes. But they have been wrong about so many of their hot takes and things getting canceled and strong female leads that because of that, there has been a ton of infighting within these huge YouTube channels and groups because people are starting to not buy their bullshit. So I don't think that to get off that subject very quickly, I don't think that Netflix is going to put any stake into the review bombing because none of it is legitimate.
All I'll say is this is a project that's been in the works for so long and hyped for so long that literally people were like, oh, it's finally coming out because, COVID pushed it back as well. That Netflix is probably already going to make this, if it's going to be more than a 1-season thing, depending on what Kevin Smith does, because he does just write limited things, like even his comic runs aren't long. But if it's going to be more than that, they've probably already approved it for however many seasons he wants it to be.
Yes.
Because he's got the money, he's got the sway amongst, nerds and fans, and as soon as people heard he was making a He-Man series, they're like, oh, of course, he's going to do an amazing job. It's 80s He-Man, blah, 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 blah.
And he did do an amazing job.
Yeah, so.
Yeah. Anyway,
fine.
continue. Sorry.
No, I mean, obviously we're going to get into, because we got a bunch of bullet points to talk about here, but yeah, overall, I enjoyed what I saw.
Yeah, so I was really hooked from episode 1, and I watched this all with Cecily because we watched all of She-Ra together, which she absolutely adored.
Adorad?
Thank you.
Could have done it.
I could have. Anyway, she loved it. I loved it. I loved He-Man as a kid. I watched the really shitty movie multiple times as a kid because I didn't know any better back then. This movie, I mean, this series from the get-go is just so good, and we're gonna obviously get into the voice cast. And like Brittany said, or no, I'm sorry, like Matt said, I'm so happy that these 5 episodes weren't just like Adam's story, that like something happened and it's not necessarily He-Man focused and you're following Tila, and it was just a really unique story, and the cliffhanger ending was just it was a cool shock. Like I'm invested. I want to know what happens. I think it would be a really fucking bold move if you're still listening and haven't been spoiled yet, if they killed Adam. Like, I think that would be a huge plot twist. Will they do that?
No.
Probably
They
not.
already did. It's just, will they kill him
Well, they
twice?
killed him twice.
I
yeah.
mean, where he was stabbed, it was low and
Yeah, it
on the
was low.
side and
Yeah.
everything. It was
No vital
It wasn't a death blow.
yeah.
Not like the first time.
Yeah, Karen watched as well. Listen, Karen is kind of like has feelings about animation like I do. She's very kind of picky about what kind of animation she takes in, and at the end she was like, "Wait, that's it? Like, I want more." Kind of like Matt, like wanting the more. So I'm in. I'm invested. Let's talk about our first bullet point because, like you said, Brittany, this show has been hyped up. Kevin Smith has been doing loads of press on it for the past few months. Was it worth the hype? Because one of Kevin Smith's tendencies and sometimes issues is that he can be overly fan service-y. Does this hit the right notes, and is it good fan service, or is it not even technically fan service?
Yeah, like he can be over fan servicey, And that's why, like, even when they announced the show, I was like, cool, I'll probably watch it. But also, I was like, I really love the She-Ra reboot and what they did. And I was very mad that they didn't give the rights to He-Man to the people making that
Agreed.
show to include him in or bridge the gap even in the finale to be like, now we can go, like, to Eternia also and things like that. So, like, I was like, I'll watch it. Like, once again, it was just the fact that I heard all these people right away that were in support of this, but wouldn't give the time of day to the fucking She-Ra reboot. And it's just like in the 80s where, like, the He-Man show happened, She-Ra show happened, and was more popular than the He-Man show. Just like the same way that it's Hercules and Xena all over again. But then you have these people that constantly try to, like, tear it down because it's like, dude, boys and girls like both shows. And then when you introduce a female character, at least then more girls will be able to watch it. So, like, they don't realize how much animation, like, males and females watch. But I don't think it got too fan servicey. Like Thundercats, when they did the reboot for that and they brought up Samoflange. Like, that was a stupid behind the scenes thing where they just, like, he made up a word on the spot because he forgot the name of the thing while they were voice recording. And they included that in the new show. So that's like a little tidbit that, like, fans would be like, oh my God, I get that reference. This one was more like, oh, wow, they actually still included all these original ridiculous characters. Like, Moss Man looks cool as shit. And, like, yeah, you still have fucking, like, I mean, they made Orko actually, like, not annoying. And I was like, that's so great. Like,
oh my God, Orko, yeah.
Yeah, so you have, like, some people, you know, I have all the little figures in my room, like Scareglow and stuff, who glows in the dark. But the fact that he's, like, legitimately ruling over, like, their version of hell, and he seems like he's not, like, a joke. Like, even when they made Skeletor a joke, like, you see by the end that he's really not someone to fucking joke with.
Yeah.
Even though he's voiced by Joker.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about that. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think it got too fan servicey. I also think it's too soon to really judge that because it was only 5 episodes.
Yeah.
But so far, I was like, cool. The lore is expanded. Thank you for finally making this shit make sense.
I wouldn't say it got too fan servicey. I was, because the one thing that I could see people being disappointed with is that the trailer kind of is vastly different from the show.
Oh, yeah.
Because it makes it seem like, yes, it is a He-Man oriented show, and at least this first half of the season is not. Mm-hmm. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that the show suffers for that, but I could see that, you know, you're expecting like these epic battles between He-Man, Skeletor in various episodes, and you get that a little bit, but not throughout the show. I haven't watched anything He-Man in probably 30 years. Yeah, at least.
Same.
I loved He-Man when I was a kid, but that was like very late 80s. I think I was into He-Man. So to kind of go back into the He-Man universe, you know, this universe where you got the buff dudes and, you know, the wispy looking women and all that stuff like that, and to make it seem more real. I mean, they did a very good job with it. At the end of the day, that's exactly what they did. They did an excellent job kind of making this universe seem more alive and more
Fleshed out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to make everything seem like, okay, yeah, I could see how, you know, this kind of stuff happening within the context of this universe that they've built. So, yeah.
Yeah. I gave everybody a printout of this incredible all-star voice cast, which really makes the show come to life. From episode 1, I was just hooked to all these amazing actors. What do we think? Favorites? Maybe some misses?
Well, the one thing I do want to point out is that, unfortunately, the She-Ra show made me really look forward to more, like, diversity in these worlds. And even though they did make a few characters, like Andra is obviously, like, black in this storyline, and Hero and things like that. Even looking at this voice cast, like, if you look at it, it's a lot of white people still.
It is.
Which is unfortunate.
No, it is.
And I get it. It's a lot of them are Kevin Smith's, like, friends, you know, and different people that are nerds and love Masters of the Universe. So I liked Sarah Michelle Gellar as Tila. Like, I thought Chris Ward he has a good voice for Prince Adam, and actually in the Prince Adam form sounds good because, like, he doesn't do that stupid voice change thing. Like, he changes the way he speaks versus Prince Adam and He-Man, but it's ultimately the same voice. So I like that a lot. Mark Hamill as Skeletor. I love Skeletor. I love the original voice for Skeletor, even though it's, like, ridiculously high-pitched and weird. That being said, he does, unfortunately, like, Mark Hamill's a good voice actor for a few specific voices. Like, he only has a certain range of voices, and this one is very much, like, only slightly different than Joker.
It's barely.
It works, but it ultimately, he's just the Joker as Skeletor.
Yeah.
So, I was the most excited for him to be Skeletor, but like I'm fine with this voice. It works for a more grounded, like, you know, more serious version of a show instead of, you know, ridiculous.
I would have taken the
80s
ridiculous
crazy.
voice still and still would have bought it.
I mean, they
think,
still
but-
had Alan Oppenheimer in here as Moss Man, so I was like, why couldn't you just let him be Skeletor again? But then that would leave room where people would be like, well, why not the whole original 80s cast if they're still alive? So you can't please fans, but I will say that. But hey, Lena Headey as Evil Lynn,
So
I
good.
fucking love Evil Lynn. So she took that character to a new level, and I love the depth. It's the same depth that they gave to like Catra in the She-Ra reboot, where you're like, cool, finally you're letting me see more of the aspects of this character, what drives them, what motivates them to actually be on this side. And her little switch at the end where she even like tilts her head back and is like, well, I was starting to like you kids, and then just like sided with Skeletor immediately. I was like, you're a boss ass bitch. Yes!
I was so mad. I was. Oh,
You were rooting for her? You thought she was going to turn?
I was.
It was too early.
She's still very well may
Yeah.
and probably will.
Oh, it,
never know.
It killed me. Matt, what do you think about this voice cast?
No, I was actually surprised with how many names I recognized
Mm-hmm.
from this. I mean, I didn't pay too much attention to the casting. Obviously, Tony Todd is as Scareglow.
So
Like,
good.
dude's got a voice.
Yeah.
Like Tony Todd has one of those voices.
He's spooky voice.
Yeah, and Mark Hamill, I do have to agree. I love Mark Hamill. Mark Hamill has a very distinctive voice that I pretty much can pick out of a voice lineup now. When
You know the second he's in a
yeah, I
show.
know the second when I hear him, because I mean, watching What We Do in the Shadows, the episode where he's Jim the
Yes.
vampire. Before I even saw his face, I just said that's Mark
Mark
Hamill,
Hamill.
and Heather was like, "What?" And I'm like, "It's Mark Hamill.
Yeah.
I know it's Mark Hamill." So yeah, I mean, nobody in this would at any point was I like, "Oh, this voice, this acting is ridiculous." This is
Yeah.
even you know Griffin Newman as Orko. Like I didn't like Orko at all. You know. I can't remember much about him growing up, but I know that I wasn't a huge fan of him. And even Orko I was totally fine with. So
I
yeah,
was
mean,
always an Orko sympathizer, but now I'm really like, that's right, bitches. Orko can do shit. Get on my level.
My big takeaway, because I love the character and the actor in Game of Thrones, was Liam Cunningham as Man at Arms. I was just like, oh,
Yeah, it's good. Man at Arms is awesome. in this.
Davos, baby, Davos. He was so good in this. Unfortunately, I probably have a bit of a stronger opinion than you guys about Mark Hamill's Skeletor. He really took me out of it because all I could hear was the Joker, and I was like, I did want kind of that cheesy Skeletor that we all know and love. This was just, like you said, he has a range, and this didn't work for me. Chris Wood, I'm a huge fan of. He played Mon-El on Supergirl. He's great. No.
No, I hate that character. I don't know anything about it as an actor. But, dude, fucking Mono. Fucking slaver from space.
Well,
Jesus,
and
okay.
that forced romance with fucking Supergirl. I
I
hated
did not
it.
like the Force
I hated
romance,
it.
but I didn't mind.
I've
his
never seen
character.
Supergirl. All right.
He's very good as Prince
Only saw the first
Adam
two
/
seasons.
He-Man, and then Sarah Michelle. Oh, I love you. I love you. She was so good.
She was really good.
She was really good, and I really liked Tila a lot in this.
Finally, Tila gets the respect she deserves.
Respect she
goddammit.
deserves, and the undercut.
Yes.
Yes.
As soon as that happened, I was like, oh, you big lesbian.
And then, Matt, I know you already said it, but one of my big takeaways was Tony Todd as Scareglow. I mean, the dude can do no wrong. He's just so good. And Scareglow,
That part was really cool.
it was really cool, and you know it's done its job when Cecily's going under the covers because she's gotten scared of like what's going on, and that's partly the animation, and that's partly because Tony Todd sounds fucking scary.
It was so nice hearing all these female characters have different voices. Like, 'cause
Yeah.
the thing in the 80s shows, it was always like, they have this wispy voice like this, He-Man.
Yep.
And then you have like, you know, it was like 3 different high-pitched voices, basically. And it was mostly the same person doing all the voices. But it's so nice to hear like, Tila was just like, well, fuck you. And
Yeah.
then the sorceress was just like, I can't hold on much longer. And you're like, oh, you're not talking like this. I'll protect Grayskull from you. And you're like, why are you talking like fucking Snow White? It's ridiculous.
Matt, I'm surprised you didn't even mention our man Kevin Conroy. He was in it for like a hot minute.
Kevin Conroy.
Yeah,
As
I mean,
as
but
Merman.
they were kind of throwaway characters, which it's cool to see these people. You know, Alicia Silverstone as Queen Marlena.
Good for her.
Yeah, I mean, it's or
I'm
Stephen
gonna, I'm
Root as
gonna
Kringer.
quickly just go through this cast list for those names that we didn't mention yet, because it's just an all-star cast. You have Dedrick Bader as King Randor. You have we already talked about Lena Headey, who's amazing. Phil Lamar as Hero. Henry Rollins was Triclops, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
Stephen Root from Man in the
Office
High
Space,
Castle and
Man in the
Office
High
Space
Castle, yeah.
as
Miss
Cringer.
Baby.
Stephen Root's been in a ton of shit.
Yeah, Jason Mewes, of course, of Jay and Silent Bob fame as Stinker. Harley Quinn Smith, who's Kevin Smith's daughter, as Elena. Susan Eisenberg, who voices Wonder Woman in the DC animated universe, was Sorceress. Justin Long,
He was
he was so
Roboto,
good as Roboto. We already mentioned Griffin Newman, and then Kevin Michael Richardson as Beastman. And then finally, you also mentioned her once before, Tiffany Smith as Andra, who was also fantastic. I mean, this is... Yeah, it's not super diverse, but it's still a very strong
It's
voice
more
cast.
diverse than the original voice
Yeah, well, there
acting
you go.
cast. So look what we've done since the 80s.
This isn't really a talking point, but I had to mention on here. I love that the motherboard were the Borg or the Mother Borg. No, come on, man.
I know it's good. I get it. The collective.
It was the
Jesus.
collective. It was.
Dun, dun, dun.
And then let's talk about a couple of the big moments here. Listen, like you said, Orko's kind of a joke, right? Like in the originals, it's been a while since I've seen it, but that was kind of the situation. I was not expecting that sacrifice to hit me so hard, and damn.
They did warn before the show came out that people would die. And
Yeah.
I was like, I'm fucking here for it. I did think the show was going to be more edgy than it ended up being, and I'm glad it wasn't, because like right away when he announced like, oh, I'm going to do this like more anime version of He-Man and stuff and all those other things, I was just like, oh, just don't make it like too dark and edgy. Like it doesn't have to be the
wasn't.
Well, luckily it was just like, oh, this feels like a natural progression of like like a more adult version of the original cartoon. It all made sense. I was like, checks out.
I'm picturing like one of those a stupid dark and edgy He-Man where it's be like, I have the fucking power.
Have you
Something like
seen
that.
the early 2000s He-Man? That shit got ridiculous. So yeah, I thought it was gonna be like crazy laser swords, like super ripped. Like they're ripped, but it makes sense.
Yeah.
You're like, this is a feasible rippedness.
I liked when Adam
feasible
Adam
rippedness.
like asks the forest to give him a little bit of home. I was like,
I care about him more now, and I
and
love
this
it.
is actually why I think Evil Lynn might sway the other way, because like she put her helmet down and
She
everything in
might
his
sway the other
grave.
way. No, she doesn't. She's very straight.
Yeah. Oh well.
A little too straight.
And then of course there
she's as
was
straight as the
Roboto
40-yard
sacrifice as well, which was very good. Like
Both of those, Orko and Roboto's deaths, hit me more than He-Man. Like He-Man exploding and like Skeletor
yeah,
disappearing. I was like, yeah, you'll be fine.
yeah, they'll be
You're
fine.
somewhere.
It's their show.
Yeah. But the Orko and Robotos were like this is the Black Widow death again. You might be really dead for real for a long time.
I do want to talk about there are some parallels, and I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing.
Good thing.
Okay, between She-Ra and He-Man and Magic leaving Eternia, these shows aren't connected, but I feel like this took two very heavy plots from the She-Ra reboot with the
did.
sword breaking and Magic leaving, and I
think
it pisses me off, I guess, like,
Yeah.
a little bit more
it
because
sucks because like DreamWorks like, and the fact that the creators of the She-Ra show or the showrunners rather, and not the original creators, had to like fight so hard to do a lot of what they could do and to have as many seasons as they did, and then it's so easy for someone like Kevin Smith to just say, I want to do He-Man, and then everybody's like, oh, here's my money, go do
Yeah.
whatever. But I did like that it's kind of connected in that way, because then hopefully it gets people to watch the She-Ra reboot, even though like they consider part of it more kiddie, even though I'd argue it's a lot more
Bullshit.
fucking intense
Yeah.
than people think. Helped me with my trauma. But I do like that it connects that idea of like the magic being lost and having to be found again, because then what they could do with the show is bring She-Ra and Catra and them in, and if he wanted to make both shows canon and still connected but having different animation styles or whatever,
He-Man
all he has to do,
multiverse.
because they're traveling at the end of She-Ra, is have them appear. It could be his own art style, just have the same voice actors do the voices, and they can look grown up and whatever, and then boom, it's the two universes are connected, because they're already exploring, and supposedly there's a chance for them to find Eternia, though they don't name it.
And the art styles are different, but they're not that
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're
different
not.
where it couldn't work.
They could
Yeah.
easily do it.
Yeah.
Because especially they
So.
age in the show, and by the end of it, they look, different than the initial first season art.
Yeah. So,
I would love to see She-Ra show up, because it's such a big part of like Adam's story is finding out that he has the sister that was taken and she like lives in this different world, and it was a whole fucking special. It was a whole like event.
the special's really good.
Yeah.
The special's very
The
good.
Christmas special.
It is the Christmas special. It is the Christmas. There is a
is
good
my
Christmas
favorite
special out there.
thing.
Let's
Please, Kevin Smith, let Tila be gay. It's probably not going to happen because he doesn't want to piss off fanboys more, but like the vibes are there.
Yeah.
They're there.
I can't wait for the next 5 parts. Let's rate part 1, these first 5 episodes, out of 5 Skeletors.
I thought about bringing my Skeletors with me, but I was like, that's too
shocked
much.
you didn't.
That's too much Skeletor.
I can't bring the whole
to
shrine. I give it 5 out of 5 Skeletors, which is saying something considering Skeletor is my favorite part of Masters of the Universe, and he wasn't in it that much. But I was like, I'm fucking here for it. Because at first I was like, oh,
we didn't even
Skeletor
talk
pushover.
about. We didn't.
Yeah,
even,
we didn't really even talk about it. But when he like appears at the end, and you're like, this is fucking Skeletor. Let's go. Sorry, I slammed a lot.
I think that I'm gonna leave it that way. We spoiled a little bit. I don't want to spoil this ending.
Watch it.
Watch the finale, if anything, because it's a doozy.
It does Skeletor justice.
It does. Matt.
I'll also go 5 out of 5. I was pleasantly surprised. I'm not going to say perfect, but still definitely it's worthy of the 5 out of 5 that I'm giving it.
You're looking Skeletor it.
That one got me.
Did you think it stinkered? No.
Definitely wasn't a stinker. I was actually going to give this a 4.5 out of 5 because I didn't know how to feel about the parallels between She-Ra and He-Man, but I liked your explanation, and that kind of helped actually sway me that they could be connected.
Yeah.
So 5 out of 5. I am dying for the next parts. I fucking love Masters of the Universe. Can't wait.
I love characters having backstories, storylines,
Yes.
and plot.
All
Thank you.
5 episodes of part 1 are streaming on Netflix right now. So that's going to do it for episode 105 of Everything is Permitted. Next week, we got more stuff going on. We unfortunately got to talk about the Bad Batch some more. Let's break down the Dune trailer as well, where Matt will just mostly be confused. I'm looking forward to that.
I know more about Dune than I.
He's like, I know more than you think. The spice must flow. Anyway, that's going to do it for this one, guys. For Matt, for Brittany, I am Julian. I say, see you next week. Good night.
You can find Everything is Permitted on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and YouTube. Everything is Permitted is produced by Rob Migliaccio, Nikki Veazey, and Geneva Stein-Shivers. Our executive producers are Michael Cox, Brittany Tomes and the Tomes family, and Julian Brown.